Bill Von Fumetti, and every week at 10 a.m. Pacific on Tuesdays, we go live, and I'm giving you everything you need to add 6 figures of bookkeeping revenue to your business. So I am on YouTube. I'm live on YouTube. I'm live in my Facebook group, and I'm live on LinkedIn. So be sure to subscribe to my channel on YouTube so that you're notified of new videos. Join my Facebook group and also connect with me on LinkedIn so you're notified when I go live and when I produce new content. And also, so I can answer your questions. Feel free to reach out to me with any questions you have. So if you're on Facebook, there's a link in the description of the video. If you click that link, you'll give my streaming software permission to access your name and profile so I can see who I'm interacting with. So everybody here is welcome to ask questions as we go through today's video. And today's topic is how much can you really make owning a bookkeeping business? At the end of the day, hey, we want to be doing fulfilling work. We want to be helping business owners. We want to be doing really meaningful work. But at the same time, hey, we've got to provide for our families, right? We definitely have to do that. We have goals, financial goals that we've set for ourselves. And in order to meet those goals, well, we've got to be generating an income. And by far and away, this is the most popular question I get asked is how much can you really make as a bookkeeping business owner? And I'm going to just show you the proof, okay? This isn't going to be my opinion. This is going to be a study that's been done that shows you exactly how much bookkeepers make. So again, if you're jumping on this live, go ahead and feel free to ask questions as we go through things. I'll be happy to answer those as we go. If you're watching this on a replay, do the same thing, and I'll be checking back in on this video, and I'll answer questions as well. So let's just get right into it. Every year, QuickBooks, well, Intuit, that's the company that makes QuickBooks, they do an annual survey of bookkeepers, and they ask them a lot of questions. Okay. And one of them is how much they make. And so I'm going to just show you the survey. So you don't have to take my word for it. So how do I share my screen here? There we go. Okay, cool. So you should see my screen now. And all you've got to do, if you want to see this survey for yourself, type in Intuit Rate Survey. Okay, Intuit, they're the company that makes QuickBooks. QuickBooks is the #1 accounting, bookkeeping software on the market by far. Okay, so the very first thing that'll come up is the new Intuit Rate Survey. They do one every year. Okay, these results were released January 4th, 2022. That's just a few months ago. And if you click into it, you can see all kinds of information about pricing, how much people are making, what the averages are, all kinds of things. And if you scroll down, I'm just going to kind of scroll down and show you some of the information you'll find. These are some of the people that they polled, so you can understand, hey, who were answering these questions. But if you scroll down here, average hourly rates, this is the section you want to point out or that you want to refer to. Okay, and check out this chart here. The average hourly rates for QuickBooks related services by professional designation. And we're just looking at bookkeepers, okay? You don't have to be a certified bookkeeper. You don't have to be an accountant. You don't have to be an EA, and that's an enrolled agent. So somebody who typically just focuses on tax preparation. You don't have to be a CPA. Just basic bookkeeping. For just bookkeeping work, $76 an hour. Okay, $76 an hour. And that is the average. That is the average. Okay, so that means you can make more than that. And people in my mentorship program typically make quite a bit more than this because we implement value-based flat fee pricing. So we don't price our services on an hourly rate. We determine the scope of work to be done, the complexity of the work to be done, the amount of value we're going to be able to create for the client, and then we come up with a flat fee for the month. Okay. And typically that works out to around $150 an hour when you look at how much you're charging divided by the number of hours you're typically spending on a client. But this is the average. Okay. So if you're just getting started and you're like, okay, well, I don't know if I really understand the value-based pricing or the flat fee stuff, what can I really expect? Well, you can expect $76 an hour. Okay. That's your average. And I mean, that works out to, if we just throw up a calculator here, we've got $76 an hour, and there's 2,080 hours in a year. If you work 40 hours a week, that's $158,000 a year working full time. And, you know, if you've been following me or my program, you see people in my program holding their 100K awards. We give those out all the time, and they're all hitting these numbers. So it is absolutely possible. Okay. So, I mean, if you just take a look at, if you want to just earn 100,000, like just if six figures is your goal, it works out to, it works out to $25 an hour, or 26 hours a week. If you do like 26 hours a week times 76 times 52 weeks in a year, you're hitting six figures and you're working 26 hours a week. So it's, I mean, if you're watching this, I'm probably not the only person you've seen talk about how great owning a bookkeeping business is. This is just one of the reasons why, because you can make an incredible amount of money, and you can do it by providing a valuable service, meaningful work. We're really helping small businesses grow, and you've got all kinds of flexibility in your schedule. Okay. You've got all kinds of flexibility in your schedule, and, and you're providing for your family. So $76 an hour. Now, I will say that sometimes people email me and they say, hey, Bill, you keep talking about this $76 an hour thing. You know, I search online and I see that bookkeepers only get paid, $20 an hour or $25 an hour. What gives? Well, that's because that's how much employers are willing to pay. Okay. If you're finding that information, you're looking at jobs. Okay. We're not talking about working for someone else. We're talking about working for yourself. Okay. When you work for a boss, they've got to make money in addition to paying your salary. Okay. So they're making a lot more money to compensate for that salary they're paying you. We've got none of that overhead. Okay. We make all the profit. Okay. So that's the difference there. So don't be confused when you search and see, bookkeepers are making $20, $25 an hour. Yeah, if you want to go work for somebody else, that's probably what you'll get paid. In fact, Intuit provides bookkeeping services as well. QuickBooks provides bookkeeping services. And if you want to work for QuickBooks as a bookkeeper, they'll pay you, even if you've got all the certifications and experience in the world, around $22 an hour. Because that's not your own business. That's not your own business. Working for Intuit, you might be able to work from home and have some flexibility in your schedule, but that's not having your own business. Having your own business is getting high-paying clients that see the value that you're going to be able to create for them, and running things your own way, keeping 100% of the proceeds. Okay, so that's what this is. That's how powerful this is. So now, one of the questions, and just to remind everybody, if you're on the live, I see we got a bunch of people on the live. Feel free to type in questions as we go, and I'll answer a few questions while I'm on here. But one of the questions I do get asked is like, well, the $76, that's probably somebody that has a ton of experience. That's somebody that's got certifications, and it's not. It's just not. Again, this is just bookkeeping. You don't have to be a certified bookkeeper. Having your QuickBooks certification, I like to recommend getting your QuickBooks certification because that opens up some really cool marketing opportunities for you. But this $76 an hour is whether or not you have tons and tons of experience. Let's face it, bookkeeping is a skill. Bookkeeping can be learned, okay? You can learn how to create an invoice in QuickBooks. Okay, how much experience do you think you need? I could open the sample company right now and go through the process of creating an invoice. Okay, putting the customer's name in and putting the items in that you're selling and how much you're selling them for, and then clicking the save button. How much experience do you really need to know how to do that? Okay, so consider that. Consider that, because a lot of people will talk to me or ask me like, well, yeah, you need to have a lot of experience to make that much money, or you have to have a lot of experience for clients to want to work with you. And the fact of the matter is, bookkeeping can be learned. Now, I don't care where you learn bookkeeping, whether it's in a mentorship program like like my program, or at a community college, an online course of some sort, Harvard, I don't care where you learn it, okay? You will get a great foundation of knowledge that will allow you to know how to handle most of what you'll encounter. That being said, the best accounting training you get out there cannot prepare you for everything you'll find when you're working with clients. There are so many different clients out there, and every client, even within the same industry, have all kinds of interesting little nuances and different, quirks. Okay, they might use different software that integrates with QuickBooks. Their processes just might be different. Ownership structure, business structure, there can be a lot of differences. No training is going to help you handle everything there is to know. That's just impossible. I think we can all agree on that. And that's why it's important, whether you're in a mentorship program, whether you've got a network of people that you can reach out to. It's important to know where to reach out when you need help, when you see something that you've never seen before. Okay. And so that's helpful, because that helps you fill in those gaps. So that myth of having experience is harmful, because it sometimes prevents people from getting started. Okay. Clients don't want the most experienced person. They don't want the person with the most certifications. They don't want the cheapest person. They don't want the most expensive. They just want the person who can help them solve their problems. That's it. As long as you can communicate that, everything else becomes secondary. Okay? So understand that this is about the client and their needs. And we can meet a client's needs without having decades of experience. We can learn how to use QuickBooks. Okay? I'm not saying experience can't provide little wrinkles and assistance and help you identify situations that you've seen before. But if we all waited until we got experience, nobody would ever get started. I mean, how would anybody ever start anything if you had to have experience to get started? So understand how to clearly communicate the value you're able to bring to the table, the problems that you're going to be able to help your clients solve, and you'll have all the clients that you're looking for. So $76 an hour, that works out to $158K per year full time. And that's kind of 158, 175. That's kind of where you'll top out at as a single bookkeeper, like a one-man band. Beyond that, if you want to scale to multiple six figures, you typically want to bring on some staff. Okay, $76. And hey, if you don't want to make 158K, if you don't even want to make 100K, that's fine. We've got lots of people in my program that just want to supplement their income and make a couple of $1,000s a month. Okay. But you can do six figures working part-time, $26 an hour. And don't shoot the messenger. Okay. I've got people all the time that say, Bill, you're crazy, or what? I mean, this isn't coming from me. This is QuickBooks. So don't shoot the messenger. All right, that's QuickBooks. So I see a couple of comments here, so I'll answer those. And if you're watching this either live or on the replay, feel free to type in any questions you have. I'd be happy to answer those. Someone on Facebook is saying, and feel free to ask questions about anything that, about starting or growing a bookkeeping business. Okay. Happy to answer anything that you have. A little more marketing related, but for the people who enroll in your program, what's the average split between local versus remote clients you see your students obtaining? Is it 50-50, or does it lean one way or the other? Really, it is 50-50. Everybody's a little bit different. In my program, we cover all of the most effective marketing strategies. Okay. Everything that's effective, nothing that's not effective. Okay. And what is effective? Let's real quick talk about what's effective. Is it has it been shown to work? Okay. Can you get clients? Has anybody ever tried this to get clients? Has it ever worked? Number one. And number two, is it scalable? Okay. There's a lot of stuff that has worked, but is not scalable. Okay. So, I like to use the story that I of this bookkeeper that I saw in a Facebook group that put their business cards at gas pumps and got a client that way. Hey, it worked. Is it scalable? I don't think so. You got to be shoving, business cards into gas pumps, and it's so low return on investment that it's just not worth it. Okay. So does it work, and is it scalable? Okay. So having said that, some of the marketing strategies that you want to use just by nature are location based. Okay. Somebody will go to the Pro Advisor profile, for example, and type in their zip code. Clearly, if you're in New York and they're searching in, Sandy, Utah. I hope that's a place. And I don't know why I picked it, but they're probably not going to find you. Okay. So you're going to find people that are local to you via those location-based Google My Business Pro Advisor profile. When you want to work with clients across the country, maybe you're in small towns. We've got lots of people in the 100K club in small towns, and they use strategies that are that allow you to get clients across the country. LinkedIn, Facebook groups, things like that. Okay. So it really is a split. It's different for different people. Okay. So 50-50 is kind of a good split. But I know some people who work with all their clients are more local. I've got other people who all they do is LinkedIn, and all of their clients are far away. Okay, so it depends, but that's generally what you can expect. But regardless if they're local or not, you are not working on site. Okay, you are not working on site with any of these clients. Okay, you're working remotely for all of them, whether they're down the street or across the country. Okay, so appreciate that question. Hey, Sandra, good to see you. And you're saying your clients are local, but they're all remote. Yeah, we don't go to anybody's office. Absolutely. Hey, Andy, good to see you. Thanks for your input on that. Jason, hey, Jason, you're saying, how do you overcome the objection that you're charging too much? Well, that's a really great question. And the best way to handle that objection is to not get it at all. Okay, so let's talk about that real quick first before we talk about what happens, when somebody says, it's too expensive. Nobody will really say you're charging too much. Okay, they'll say, that's a little more than what I was expecting. I found somebody else, or I talked to some people who could do it for a lot cheaper. They'll say something along those lines. They won't be so bold as to say you're charging too much. But anyway, the best way to handle that objection first is not to get it at all. And if you can, in your consultation with them, that's why we talk about in our consultations, we got a few consultation role plays on my YouTube channel. So check those out. On your consultation, you want to very clearly, and you want to get the client to tell you this via asking the right questions. You want to make it very clear that the value you're creating is going to be many times the fees that you're charging. Okay. And so how do we do that? Well, there's a lot of different ways you can do that. And I'll just talk about one of them really quickly. But I work with a bunch of chiropractor clients. My wife's a chiropractor. Hey, it is what it is. So I work with some chiropractor clients, and a conversation I had with a chiropractor was, they booked a call with me, and they needed some help with their bookkeeping. And so the conversation focused on, okay, well, what are you doing now for bookkeeping? And they were doing their own bookkeeping. And I asked them how much time they spent on their bookkeeping. And they said a couple hours a week managing my books. I said, okay, that's $8 an hour. If you're not, what's an hour of your time worth? What's your billable rate? Okay. So when you're seeing patients, what are you charging? And a common number is $200 an hour. And so I did some simple math. I'm saying, so if you're not spending 8 hours on your books, you'd be spending 8 hours with patients, making $200 an hour. That's $1,600. Am I right? And they say, wow, yeah, wow. And so when my fees are $600 a month, but they're able to make another $1,600, this starts to become a no-brainer for them. Okay, it starts to become a no-brainer for them. So that's one way that you can illustrate that value that you're able to create. Okay, and that helps prevent the whole you're charging too much. If I'm saying, hey, here's a box with $1,600 in it, and it only costs you $600 to buy this box, who would say no to that? An insane person who you probably don't want to work with anyway. So that's what you want to do. You want to do things like that on the consultation call. The consultation call is your opportunity to communicate and demonstrate your value. And the best way of doing that is asking a ton of questions and finding out what the real problems this business owner is facing. Okay, when a business owner says, hey, I need, thanks for talking to me. I need a bookkeeper. My bookkeeper, I need a bookkeeper. That's not the opportunity for us to say, okay, great. Well, tell me about your business and how many transactions do you have? And okay, it'll cost you this much. That's not the problem they're having. Okay, the problem isn't they need a bookkeeper. It's deeper than that. Why are you looking for a bookkeeper? Okay, oh, the one you have right now isn't working out? Oh, tell me about that. When you say it's not working out, what do you mean by that? Oh, she's not giving you the reports you need and you're not getting them on time. Oh, okay, well, what kinds of reports are you not getting? Oh, you're not getting job costing reports, so you have no idea how to price whether or not you're profitable on certain types of jobs. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Well, okay, now we can start having conversations about how that, like what that means to your business in terms of actual dollars. Okay, and so if you're able to do things like that, and I mean, I asked a lot of questions there in just that short period of time. Asked a lot of questions, just probing questions. You do that, you are demonstrating your value, the value that you bring to the table. Nobody else, okay, no other bookkeeper is going to ask those questions, period. Okay, most bookkeepers, it's, hey, how you doing? Oh, you need a bookkeeper? Hey, great, I do bookkeeping. How many transactions do you have? And they just throw out a number and hope that the client sees the value in that. One of the reasons we respect doctors so much is that for the most part, they take the time to really get to know what our problem is. They care enough to ask. People who care about you ask questions about you. Okay? People who don't care about you do a lot of the talking. So if you're doing most of the talking on your consultations, you're not demonstrating that you really care about the client and you're not putting them first. Okay, so that is a long little tirade on how to prevent that from happening in the first place. And that's where I'd really encourage you to spend your time. Do not spend your time focusing on how to overcome objections. Okay, they will happen. They will come up. It's nice to know what to say when they do come up. I'll talk about that in just a minute. But focus the vast majority of your time, I dare say all of your time, on doing the things that you need to do to prevent those objections from coming up in the first place. And your life will be so much easier. Because by the time they're saying that sounds too expensive, or that's a lot more than other people are charging, or it was more than I was expecting, they're indicating that they don't see the value. Okay, they don't see the value in what we'll be able to create for them. Not in us. They're not judging us as a person, but they're not seeing the value that we create. Okay, so if that happens, now we kind of blew that opportunity to demonstrate that value. Now we're trying to play catch up. Okay, I went through my spiel. I didn't do a good job of asking questions. They've said I'm too expensive, and now I've got to go back and defend myself and try to undo all of these things and get them to a place where they should have already been. Okay, that's very difficult to do. So if you're getting those objections that you're too expensive, or your price is too high, or you're more than what I was expecting, The problem is, hey, let's fix how we handle our consultations. Okay. Now, if you do that, sometimes people will say, okay, well, that's great. I appreciate that, but that's, I've called around to a few people, and that's more than what, what they're charging. And they'll say something like that. They'll say something like, it's more than what I was expecting. For somebody that says that was more than what I was expecting, you can ask a simple question. What were some of your expectations? Okay. Were some of those expectations just based on having someone do straight bookkeeping? And if so, are you looking for someone that is going to kind of go a little bit beyond that, beyond bookkeeping, and actually provide direction and give advice on how to help you grow your business? And you'd say something like that if that conversation earlier in the conversation, you've talked about advisory, like kind of providing some advisory services in addition to bookkeeping. Okay. Tell me about some of your expectations. Okay. If you're not doing advisory services and they say, yeah, it's a little bit more expensive than these other people that I'm talking to. Okay, great. Well, tell me a little bit about some of the things that you heard from them that you enjoyed, and were there some other things that you heard from them that caused you to continue to look around? Because you and I are on the phone now, so perhaps there was something that happened in a conversation with them that didn't make you feel comfortable in moving forward with them. Ask questions. It's always about more questions. Okay. So whether it's, it was more than what I was expecting. Well, what were some of your expectations, and what were those based on? Okay. What were those based on? Was that based on just having somebody do basic bookkeeping? Was that based on having somebody kind of to take a larger role and to help you grow your business? Somebody else can do it cheaper. Okay. Well, tell me a little bit about some of the things that that you discussed with them that you enjoyed about what they presented, and maybe there was some things that that you discussed with them that you didn't particularly like, that caused you to continue looking and talking to additional bookkeepers. Understand why they're on the phone with you. Hey, if you liked if the price was right and you had a good conversation with them, why are we talking? Okay, now I'm not going to say that to the client, but that's essentially the crux of what you want to get at. Why are we talking then? Okay. Those are some of the ways that you can handle that objection when you talk. But again, the best way to handle it is just not to have to deal with it at all. Okay. Trying to wrap up this exterior painting job, but need this. Hey, come wrap it up, and we'll be here. Show value up front. Let me put this up. Show value up front. People feel sad about not being able to afford you. That's correct. If you communicate that value effectively, the value you're going to be able to create for them, people will find a way to make it work. They will find a way to make it work. Okay. If I told you, like, hey, I've got a box with $100,000 in it, but it costs $10,000. You would find a way to make it work. If you didn't have $10,000 in the bank, you would find a way to make it work. Okay. You'd ask friends, you'd ask relatives, you'd take out loans, you would do whatever it took to make it work. If you want something bad enough, if you see that value, you'll make it work, and clients will as well. Okay, so that's just it's very important when I hear people say, well, I had a conversation with them, it went well, but I told them my price, and they just couldn't afford it. It was just too expensive. Like, they can't afford it right now. It was just too much. That wasn't the client. That 90% of the time, 95 or more percent of the time, it's because we didn't do a good enough job on the call. If we can do a good job on the consultation call, and these calls are not complicated. Okay. Have an outline. I still use an outline. I kind of have it in my head now, but have an outline if you need to. We have an outline in the program where you just follow an outline and you make sure you kind of hit on certain points and guide the conversation, because there's some things that we want to do in the conversation. We can't script it out. We can't We can't say, say this, and this, and the client's going to say this because, clients are clients. They'll say whatever they want to say. They won't follow any of that. But there are main topics you want to cover. You want to cover, dive into what their pain is, what their problems are. You've got to dive deep in on that. Okay. You want to talk about their goals. Okay. Yeah, I absolutely have to do that. So there are things that you want to do, but it happens in the context of just a casual conversation. Okay. So they're not difficult. These consultations are not difficult, and you don't have to do any selling. Earlier, when I talked about, asking the chiropractor how much time he was spending, and he was telling me that information. I wasn't saying, hey, you would make more money. Sorry, is that distracting? That's a little distracting. You would make more money if you hired me. I wasn't saying that. He was telling me. He was coming to that conclusion on his own. Okay, so that's what we want to do. We just ask really good questions. Okay. Edgar, you're saying Chris Voss has some great info on handling objections up front. Chris Voss has great stuff, all kinds of great stuff out there. So he's got his mirroring someone, which is awesome. It's like a superpower. That's really, really effective in helping the client divulge more information. Chris Voss was, I think, like an FBI hostage negotiator for a long time. And so he's got these incredible techniques, and now he's an author, he's a consultant, he's just a speaker. He's like one of the foremost experts on, negotiating and sale, like as that pertains to a lot of different areas, including sales. His book, Never Split the Difference, is a really great book. Really great book, but like mirroring techniques, tonality, in terms of how you're speaking, really make it easy when you incorporate those things into clients feeling comfortable divulging information. Okay. So thank you for that, Edgar. You're saying another one is handling objections with Victor Antonio. Definitely. But I would, really focus on preventing them in the first place. Which module is the outline? That would be module 8, closing the deal, or closing the deal. So that goes over handling consultations in the course. Cool. So if anybody has any other questions, I'll probably be on for the next few minutes. Feel free to post your questions about our topic today, how much you can really make, $158K per year full time. That's coming from QuickBooks. QuickBooks is the one who did the study, and I'll just pull it up one more time. If you weren't here at the beginning, just do a Google search for Intuit rate survey. It's the first thing that pops up, and you scroll down and you see this incredible statistic. The average hourly rate for QuickBooks bookkeeper, $76 an hour. That's $158K full time. You can also do 6 figures and be working part-time. Okay, so that's the real deal. That's the real deal. And you can do that on your own. You can do that whether you have experience or not. These are the numbers that you can be making. Okay, so hey, if bookkeeping is right for you, go for it. If bookkeeping is not right for you, don't, I'm not saying, hey, it's 158K. Everybody needs to be a bookkeeper. Do it if it's right for you. Okay, do it for you if you genuinely are interested in owning your own business, helping small business owners. Obviously, the income is incredible and the flexibility is incredible, but do it if that's right for you. And Brandon, that's for a one-man band. You can do about 158, 175 on your own per year. Beyond that, you're going to want some staff. Okay, beyond that, you're going to want some staff. Lloyd, hey Lloyd. Role playing on how to overcome some common objections by asking relevant questions. Yes, definitely. We've got some on the YouTube channel, role playing videos, consultation role plays. So check those out. Danielle, hey Danielle. How long would it take to finish your course? Typically what happens, people in my mentorship program, they are able to start and finish and start getting clients in about 6 to 8 weeks. Okay, now that's if they're able to spend about 5 to 10 hours per week on the program. Okay, if they're able to spend about 5 to 10 hours per week on the program, you can typically finish and start getting clients in 6 to 8 weeks. Okay, but you get lifetime access to everything in my program. So, you take it at your own speed. Life happens. I got a couple of small kids, and and I'm the dad. Poor mom. I don't, mom guilt is real. Trying to, work or be home with the kid, like juggling all these things. My gosh. So we're all on our own schedules and our own programs. Do what is right for us. And you've got another question. Would you say it's better to niche or keep a wide variety? In my program, I talk about and I encourage to get the best of both worlds. Let's get the best of both worlds. On marketing strategies where people find us, we can't control who finds us, whether it's a restaurant owner, a chiropractor, or a lawyer. We can't control that. So on those platforms where people find us, like ProAdvisor or Google My Business, let's keep those wide open. I like to work with lots of different clients. I love it. I think it's exciting. But when we're reaching out to people, if we're on LinkedIn, we want that outreach that message to really resonate with people. So if we connect with a lawyer on LinkedIn, we're going to want that to be kind of lawyer-centric, okay, focused on that niche, okay, so we can really resonate with them. And so it depends on the marketing strategy, whether it's a kind of an inbound or an outbound, will determine whether or not you have a perceived niche is what I call it, okay? I'll work with anybody, but when I do the outreach, people's perception is that I only work with a particular type of client so that my message really resonates, okay? So that's how you're going to want to handle that. Brandon, you're asking how many niches would I recommend? I would only recommend one. But again, I work with all kinds of clients. But if I'm performing outreach, if some of my marketing is where I'm reaching out to somebody, I'm only going to appear to have one niche. Okay, you don't want to have mixed messaging, okay, at all. So if you choose to have one, you would have one. Hey, Sandra. You started the course, got your first client, now you're taking the remaining of the course, the areas that my clients usually don't use. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, people in the program are getting clients every day. And, it's a demand for bookkeeping is at an all-time high. So it's a great time to be a bookkeeper, especially when you can make $158K per year if you want. Okay, it's there for you. And that's what we talked about today. So I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it up because I think we've had a good conversation and I've enjoyed answering everyone's questions. If you have additional questions, feel free to comment on this video or send me a message on Facebook. Okay, send me a message on Facebook to the Booming Bookkeeping Business Facebook page, and I'm happy to point you in the right direction. Okay, so again, Danielle, love it. Signing up now. I'd love. I will see your name come through on my phone, and we'll be in touch, and we'll get started right away. I'm happy to hear that, and I look forward to working with you. So again, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Check out my free Facebook group. Okay, and because there's lots of information and good discussion and advice happening in there, and connect with me on LinkedIn as well. Okay, so that you're notified. And hey, whether we work together or not, I want to make sure I point you in the right direction. Okay, whatever that is, whether it's to work with me, work with somebody else, or nobody at all. Okay, do what's right for you. I want everybody to be make the decision that's right for them and be in a good place. So with that said, I'll go ahead and wrap things up again. I do this every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, giving you all of the information you need to add 6 figures of bookkeeping revenue to your business. So until next time,